All right, Ulm, turn 91. Oh yeah, we're definitely at war here. So still doing some summoning, wyverns, mechanical men, yetis, dire portents, of course. This one actually isn't too bad. This is Vanheim putting up Earthblood Deepwell, so that's fine. They're kind of our ally really at this point, so I guess it's a good thing in this case. It's neutral at least. This is what you see when I think not shatter. Crumble is cast on one of your fortresses. So it doesn't do a ton of damage, but we have some long dead in there. That's why like 4 units were actually killed. But anyway, yeah, this is not a good sign. So anyway, that's what that looks like. Also, well, we know what this is. More Armageddon. So at this point, it was Relay, fessed up. They took credit for it because somebody was thinking that it's like, oh, well, like maybe people were speculating like who it was. They're like, I didn't spend all these. They're wishing for it. They're like, I didn't spend all these astral pearls for someone else to get the credit. And I don't really think. I mean, I don't know, right? Like I haven't really been tracking the underwater situation. But the early age relay, it's tough to get onto land, and then the other underwater power right now is. The PNG equivalent. I always forget the name, but anyway, neither of them are like particularly powerful nations on land. So I don't think there's any really rhyme or reason to these Armageddons. Like I do think that there are probably times where if your opponent is relying more on gold than you are, then like Armageddon's going to work out in your favor probably. Or it's also probably worse against like human nations. Because if you're giants or something, it's more likely your units are going to survive. So, you just keep hitting with Armageddon like every other turn, and like it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt both of you, but it's going to hurt them more. But I don't think there's any calculation like that going on here, which is fine. However you want to play the game. I don't love it. So just know if you do stuff like this, you're going to go on a list, and if the opportunity presents itself later for me to eat you. Yeah, I will happily do so. But, hey, everybody plays the game a different way. It's just, yeah, there are consequences to this. So more Armageddon. The immediate consequences, we are so broke. We were already broke, but even more broke. And, a bunch of our stuff died. God only knows what's going on with our scripts. But yeah, more Armageddon, which again is pretty normal for the late game. So, but it was my first time kind of going through it, and it's painful. And yeah, speaking of painful, there's definitely more pain to come here. Some victories too. So I'm going to roll through a lot of these fairly fast, and we'll look at the map because it's all going to blur, but we'll go through so you can just get a sense. But I'm going to be saying Van Jarl a lot. So yeah, Van Jarl against PD. We know, Van Jarls, minimal PD. Ivy King, our Ivy King, getting, minimal PD. Van Jarl, minimal PD. Our Axe Warriors, making a showing, minimal PD. Nobody's really. The Boars, always a classic. Slightly more than minimal PDs, so that's a little sad. That's all it takes. 7th grade Boars, 6 PD, doesn't matter. Then yeah, we're super broke. God, we're so broke. And then Kokithiad. This Van Hurst was unkitted, so not actually super interesting. Pretty kitted Kokithiad. So she takes that province there. And then our Wraith Lord, minimal PD, no problem. And then a Van Jarl against just some remnants of some army or something. And then there's a battle in Niflheim that's a little more interesting. So this is where we were trying to break out, with our ghosts and our long dead, but like no support really. And you can see there's already a storm up. That's a bad sign. And yeah, right. So there's a reason that Helheim is casting Crumble on Niflheim. They are clearly intending on taking it. And, this is the danger. It's like, okay, there was just one Van Jarl there, last turn, right? That's what raided it. And, I'm like, okay, I can, kill that with this. But, now we risked our ghosts, who are valuable units with absolutely no support. And we ran into an army. And I mean, we've seen these armies from Helheim before. I think we know how this is going to go. Ghosts are good, but, not that good. Not good enough to take on a whole army. So, yeah, I think Helheim does take a few casualties, probably from Wrathful Skies. Like, yeah, he loses a Magus and a couple Hell Hurtings, but, you know, I mean, to trade for 30 or 28 ghosts, like, yeah, totally worth it. And, yeah, we're in trouble here on Niflheim. All right, now back to our regularly scheduled program of raiding. So, Ivy King, minimal PD, no problem. We're broke. Axe Warriors, minimal PD, no problem. Van Jarls, a little bit of PD, no problem. Blackhawks suck, so that problem, minimal PD, and they lose to it. This is rough. I wonder, let's take a quick look. I don't actually know exactly what happened here, because like one PD, sometimes they can win against one PD. I don't think this is quite like a full Blackhawk squad, but it's pretty close. I mean, you see like, yeah, it's the Van Hurst. That's the thing. You do have to consider the PD commander, you know, and it's like with the elves, it's like all it takes is 1 point of PD. They get a Van Hurst, and like, yeah, they're pretty much safe against any like reasonable amount of Blackhawks, maybe infinite Blackhawks, really. Certainly with the right bless. He blessed himself. So like, yeah, if the elves take like a good bless, you can forget it about raiding them with these birds. So anyway, yeah. But I mean, you know, I had them, like, whatever. Just give it a shot. But yeah, lesson learned there, elves. So yeah, and then this is our army jumping back on top of the Helheim Throne province and minimal PD, right? So yeah, this works out for now. Of course, we're like right next door to that army in Niflheim, so you know, we'll talk about that. And then Van Jarl, minimal PD, no problem. Our Golems working their way back. This is through that province that rebelled. So yeah, one of the Golems is set up for, you know, chaff clearing. So one of the issues actually, like teleporting units out. You know, it's like I teleported these guys out pretty far. And I mean, that's where they had to go to kill that golem, you know, that teleported in and killed our Wraith Lord. But like now they're having to like walk slowly back to a lab. So like definitely considering like how far away you're going to be from a lab, because it's like it takes these guys a long time to reset now. But at least they're competent raiders like on the way back. And then there was an interesting battle here between Yomi and Helheim, and I think this was on their throne. So yeah, this is probably like the last major force that Yomi has. Not like my scouting is not perfect, but I mean, this is massive. This is absolutely massive. He doesn't have a lot of Dione left, it looks like, at least not here. Yeah, this guy's just set up for like maximum fire casting. And then of course, like, yeah, just a bazillion Oni, some corpse constructs. You know, we've talked about most of these units before. Like some of these research casters, you can see a lot of his units are damaged too from Armageddon, most likely. He's got, you know, research items on. Like this is it. This is like the last stand. You know, he hasn't bothered to take them off. A ton of Wraith Lords. Looks like mostly, yeah, probably completely unkitted. Yeah. So, I mean, you know, like, he doesn't actually have, like, a ton of... Are these Oni Shugo? I guess they're decent casters, like Death 2. I'm not actually super familiar with Yomi. So, but anyway, a lot of, like, fairly low-level mages, and it doesn't really look like any gems. Like, you know, a few nature gems for some swarm. I mean, not that... I don't know. He doesn't really need more chaff, so who knows? But what's he up against? He's up against an actual army, a lot of sea trolls, a few regular, you know, trolls, Moose Knight trolls, a lot of Van Jarls, no surprise there. Van Jarl's also taking some damage as well. Let's see, some demon banes, that's going to help a lot, you know, extra damage against demons. But a lot of these guys are unkitted. This guy's kitted, you know, just chaff clearing. That's probably smart considering how many, you know, Oni are out there. But probably a lot of this is just going to be like Thunderstrike spam, right? Because we got the, you know, Queen of Thunder here. I guess maybe she could do Fog Warriors. You know, yeah, we have a lot of casters. We've seen like kind of what Helheim normally does. Probably somebody in here is going to do Wailing Winds, you know, and yeah, I don't know, unless Growing Fury, something like that. You know, I mean, these guys don't have very good morale. Let's see, yeah, 9, and they're in Friendly Dominion. That's good, right? Because Dark Skies, yeah, no Dark Skies. See from the background. So yeah, some protection spam going down. You know, this army's just way too big, really, for that to matter too much. I heard some imps coming up. I'm not actually sure who that's from. Let's see, Quagmire coming from, it looks like Helheim, because they've got the Sea King. So that's interesting. That's like a fatigue play. Wailing Winds, yeah, so he's just looking to slow them down, right, to give Wailing Winds more time. So I think Quagmire might even be less of a fatigue play and more just looking to slow them down, right? The swamp, slows these units down, so he just wants to prevent them from getting to him. And then demon cleansing, right? So I think it's like, what, 200%? Yeah, double damage from all attacks, all demons, which is obviously super bad news. You can see a lot of these Oni have already popped into spirit form. I'm not actually sure from what. There might have been an earthquake cast that I missed or something. Also, somebody's preparing to cast Firestorm. That could actually be coming from Yomi, but again, he doesn't really actually have fire resistance. I mean, they are demons, but I don't know. These demons, they're not resistant to fire. Anyway, the Sea Trolls go forward. If the Oni can actually arrive, I do think they'll chop through them pretty good. Yeah, no protection buffs have gone up. I mean, they do regenerate, these trolls, but they are kind of squishy. So yeah, Firestorm cast by a Flame Spirit. Let's see. Whose Flame Spirit is that? Let's check real quick. Oh yeah, I'm starting to lag a little. Probably turn on team colored squares here while I'm in here. Oh, you can do it, client. Okay. Flame Spirit. No, that's coming from Helheim. Okay, so that makes sense, right? Like, yeah, you're not going to wipe out. Like, there's a huge stack. Battlefield wipes, definitely, like, a good way to go. So, yeah, let's go ahead and eventually we'll get out of this menu and turn on team colored squares, and I won't go back in. Okay, you can do it, client. We believe in you. Yeah, Firestorm is not Dominion's favorite spell. There's a lot of sprite effects, and of course it's just an absolutely massive battle. Sometimes like the environment that it's fought on matters too. It seems like some of the swamp maps really tend to lag things out. So that looks like a Fog Warriors on Helheim's side, but I really think like, ooh, I don't know what that was. That's an earthquake, probably several. But I mean, yeah, Firestorm is going to do the trick here. If Wailing Winds doesn't, and I mean, this is just, yeah, a complete slaughter. That was an army of gold or lead. Probably also on, Helheim's side, I'm guessing. Let's see, Soul Drain. I'm not actually familiar with that. I'll have to look it up in the editing. Relief, that's, yeah, Ivy King coming from Helheim. Like, he's just brought, like, a ton of, yeah. I mean, he's brought it all. And I think Yomi mostly just kind of had a pile of stuff left, and it was an impressive pile of stuff, definitely. But, yeah, a pile of stuff does not an army make. So I would speed through this, but that would definitely be a mistake. It's not quite over yet. I mean, you can see like the Wraith Lords are just, hanging out, right? This is the advantage, of course, of like the really good morale. Although, I don't know if they're weak to fire, but they're definitely not immune or resistant to it. So they will die to the Firestorm. And then, of course, once the thugs and everything, the Vanjarl thugs move forward, and yeah, I mean, the occasional lightning strike, that's bad news for Wraith Lords. So, this is taking a second, and it was probably Army of Gold that went down, because that also gives some fire resistance. And you can see, like, yeah, trolls, not sea trolls, but regular trolls are susceptible to fire. So this is, but again, like, right, I mean, Helheim's getting hit by these Armageddons too, so if he loses a couple trolls, probably not the end of the world. I mean, it's kind of a good thing. It lowers his upkeep. So yeah, we don't need to watch the rest of this. That was this guy, and yeah, like, wow, 1,500 units, mostly, just Ko-Oni, like free spawn. And I mean, we've talked about Ko-Oni, but I mean, that's pretty darn scary. This would scare me in a lot of situations. But yeah, Flame Spirit killed like 1,000 of them. Yeah, Troll Kings, so that's that Earthcaster, so definitely some Earthquake went down, got some kills, and like, yeah. Helheim took 4 losses, 3 Great Eagles and a Sea Troll, 2 Vanjarls, that kind of hurts. They were probably already injured from Armageddon, but like still, just, yeah, wow. So anyway, back to the raiding war. Let's see. So this is our Spectre, moving on with all of his kitting, minimal PD, he has no problem. Wraith Lords, 2 of them. Not actually sure why I have them paired up like this. Maybe just not enough provinces for him to hit. But anyway, yeah, 1 PD, no problem. And then there was another interesting battle in Old Man Mountains. And yeah, this is Helheim trying to raid on top of our fort with a Dione, his Dione. We've seen this guy before. And yeah, we are patrolling at least some of our forts now. This was, we have some wolves, like a couple rando ghosts. Let's see, what is this guy? He's got some cold resistance, because why not, I guess. Not sure what he's going to be doing. He's definitely on advance and cast spells or something. And then, yeah, we should make a ton of skeletons. I have a warrior chief that is too close here. He's going to get soul drained a bit. This is our mercenary who got super messed up by Armageddon, but yeah, he has some gems. I'm not sure what he's... And then we have, yeah, a few yetis. Not sure what our mercenary is going to be doing. And then let's see, we got an Earthcaster, just a regular Earthcaster. So, kind of just a random grab bag of stuff. And like a lot of it, we are going to struggle a bit. This guy's not crazy, right? His kitting is not written. Yeah, in fact, wow, we already put him in ghost form. Let's see. Yeah, Soul Slay, it's got to be it. There, yeah, so there you go. Soul Slay, it's really effective. He's even got an Amulet of Anti-Magic on, right? Magic Resistance 24, not bad. Like, we got kind of lucky there, actually. I mean, don't get me wrong. 24 is not amazing, but still, like, yeah, it was probably a pretty good roll to get him so quickly. But he is regenerating. That must be on the Bless? No. Oh, Soul Vortex. Right, of course. Sorry. Let's see. Flame Eruption. Yeah, that's going to be coming from our friend. Yeah, there goes all of our wolves. That's a bit sad. And then, yeah, our Axe Warriors, like, all these guys are going to struggle. I mean, we know about, Soul Vortex, Super Combatant, Axe Warriors. Yeah, we've seen that recipe before. But then, yeah, here come our Yetis. And, Yetis do a decent amount of damage. I think that was Yetis getting some hits in. No, Frozen Heart spam. Yeah. Interesting. So yeah, Yetis is not quite good enough. His protection is high enough. So yeah, Yetis definitely need a little bit of buffing here, it looks like, to actually get through. But Frozen Heart is a good spell, a good anti-elite spell. Where is our Frozen Heart spammer? It's not this guy. Okay, here we go. Yeah, this Warrior Smith. Yeah, we have 2 Warrior Smiths set up to advance and spam Frozen Heart. And we've got a Warrior Chief up there now as well. And he's got a great Sword of Sharpness. Was he the one? Did you get the kill here, buddy? Yeah, yep, he did. So there you go. Great Sword of Sharpness, a little bit of Frozen Heart spam, and, we took out a raider there. So that worked out pretty well. It did end up costing us some wolves, but, we picked up some gear, so, yeah, totally worth it. That's the kind of stuff we need to be seeing. We need to be killing these raiders. We're definitely taking some provinces back, but, yeah, we'll talk about kind of the overall picture here in a second. Still more raids to get through. So, yeah, we get raided by a Van Jarl against quite a bit of PD. I think this is one of our forts. Yeah, just so not patrolling all of our forts. I think I may have said that I was, but yeah, that was false. And then Baratos is attacking out against minimal PD. And then this was kind of an interesting battle. So this is Hinnom attacking out, who, yeah, I have to say, he was super laid back. I was like, hey, let's attack Vanheim. He's like, sure. And then a couple turns later, I'm like, actually, let's attack Helheim. He's like, got it. So, yeah, super laid back. And he runs into a boar squad. And I think these are the summoners here, which is kind of interesting. So he runs in. I don't know if, like, Helheim was just transferring him or was intending him to use him in combat. He's got a Van Jarl here with him, and then this is probably just the PD commander. And then, like, I love this raiding squad. I'm not actually super familiar with Hinnom, but like these are like I don't know, 3 of these different sons. So they gotta all be heroes. So yeah, I love the flavor of this. Like this is somebody who's having some fun here in the end game. Like he knows that he's not gonna win. Like let's just do cool stuff. So they're buffing themselves, so like, they're fully kitted. Like, yeah, they're not gonna have any problems with these boars. Maybe some problems. Ooh, what happened there? One of them he flew to the back. Okay, the Van Jarl maybe could be a problem, but with no kitting, like, yeah, I think he's gonna be okay. Again with the whip, I don't know. Yeah, that is a lot of damage. Maybe is the demon whip not capped? Yeah, it is capped. So he does like a lot of fire damage in like a 1 square area, which is nice. Like, I do think the Demon Whip is a cool item, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's a little sad to be using it on like a giant, right? Because you don't get the advantage of all that strength. But I mean, you do need somebody on chaff clearing duty, and like, yeah, this guy's got a flesh eater, so he gets the advantage of the strength. And what about you? Oh, he's just using his base weapon, which is a moon lance. That's cool. That's just unique to him, or certainly not something you can forge anyway. Times 2 damage versus magic beings, that's pretty cool. So like, yeah, it makes sense. I like it. I'm just not sure. Like a Frostbrand, right, would clear chaff, but also gets the benefit of the strength. So I'm not sure if there's really any benefit to the Demon Whip. Yeah, not sure. But I do love the flavor of that. So yeah, that raid works out. A little more interesting than normal. Like to see our ally out there doing work. And then, yeah, back to the rating. You know, we get raided by Van Jarl, a little bit of PD, takes it out. Van Jarl, quite a bit of PD, takes it out. Van Jarl takes it out. Feeling a little like a broken record here. And then, yeah, I think, this is Agartha, so Helheim, there wasn't too much here, so, yeah. Yomi loses a capital, that hurts. And then, some events, a hurricane, like more hurricanes, whatever, it's fine. 54 gold, yes, such a treasure. Somebody patrolled out a Dryad Mother. We patrolled out a Dryad. And then we also patrolled out one of Helheim's commanders, who's unkitted, not sure what this was. Maybe just thinking about raiding us on top of Ulm, wanted to check like the PD strength first, maybe. But anyway, we got him. We get Scout patrolled out, although he manages to kill an Elder, which, whoops, because, we have a non-aggression pact with don't like to see this, but, I mean, you're still allowed to scout, when you have a non-aggression pact, and, shit happens sometimes. And then, there's a fort that we can't break down, and, we'll talk about all the rest of this. And then, of course, we're having units desert because we can't afford them. And, what are we up to here? So I think first let's, talk Yomi. Yomi's not really a thing anymore. Forget him. He's gone. So it's Vanheim, myself, maybe going to be jumping in, and Hinnom going up against Helheim, who's, doing quite a bit of raiding, right? So, starting to see some Van Jarl raids, like, deeper into our, like, core territories, right? Another raid here. Probably should have moved out counter raiders earlier, but, starting to move out various groups, a lot of like Swarm, and then, here's a Spectre who's got some penetration gear for Disintegrate. And then, we can't, anywhere that we have PD, that's great, but we have no money, so there's a lot of places now that we can't leave PD behind anywhere now, basically, so kind of just, what we have, here's just some Blackhawks to distract them, more Swarm. So anyway, trying to move, units out to catch raiders, also trying to, re-raid the territory that we've lost. I think probably we are, let's take a look at the graph so we can see, are we up, are we down? Way down this turn, right? So we were up for a hot second, and now, we're roughly where we started, but in terms of this last turn, that hurt. We're definitely losing the raiding war right now. But we still have plenty of stuff. Here's our golems marching back. Of particular note is there's a fort here now. I was planning on raiding this back, and I mean, we did raid this back. I was wondering about those two Wraith Lords. This is probably where that was, and this is a very important province. I talked a little bit about how Helheim is doing a good job about raiding high gem value provinces, and this was really slick. This is a Wizard's Tower. I think that is the name of the spell. I'll double check, but it's instant fort. It's quite a few earth gems, but totally worth it in some cases. It's a very difficult fort to break down. It's not so great in terms of if you want to recruit a bunch of units out of it. It actually is worse than most forts, maybe even worse than a palisade. Probably about on par. I'll double check that too. But anyway, it's very difficult to break down. So really useful in situations like this. And this is there's a lot of, okay, this one gives you a nature gem. Iron Mine doesn't give you anything, but 2 gems from this, 2 gems from this, 2 gems from this. So this is 7 gems, and I just left it unforted, which was a mistake, right? I was just looking at it's this is a place that has death scales. There's no population here. There wasn't a lot of population before the double Armageddon either, right? So I was this isn't a very valuable province, but oh no, this is an extremely valuable province. Absolutely not thinking about that the right way. probably worth a fort, even with our really limited, gold situation. Or like, okay, we don't have any earth gems right now, but like we've had earth gems in the past. So like, yeah, maybe we could have magic phased a fort onto it. Anyway, the other nice thing too, right, is this gives him a stronghold right next to our throne. So like another reason that like if I had patrolled this province and held this province and prevented it from being captured, by like just a lone Van Jarl, right, and actually forced him to commit an army onto it, you can't create a fort in a province you don't own. So yeah, I definitely left myself open to this. Didn't really value like surrounding provinces surrounding, my throne enough, and like, yeah, was not paying enough attention to like where I'm getting my gem income from. But you can see like Helheim, he took it, boom, immediately fort goes in. Like, yeah, this was nice. This I had to give him a tip of the hat. And then yeah, we weren't patrolling. Speaking of thrones and our throne, we weren't patrolling on our throne, so that Van Jarl went and locked down our throne. We are breaking siege, so we should kick him off, assuming he even hangs out. He might not. That's how Van Jarls are. We were at least patrolling this fort, so that's where we killed. This is where we killed the Dione. So that's a silver lining, a ray of hope. And then of course, like, yeah, he's starting to hit like our bordering provinces pretty hard. But we're going to be counter raiding. We still have a lot of raiders running around ourselves. So, this is still very much up in the air. And then, yeah, we're going to try to storm here, which storms happen after field battles, right? And so the fact that he has an army right here next to it on Niflheim. Now, this is cracked, right? And we are breaking siege with everything that we have, which is not much anymore, right? Because we lost pretty much all of our units. So, we're going to be spamming out like, yeah, Will-o'-the-Wisp. Like, this is just like some random guys, lesser air element. Like, this is just whatever chaff we can come up with. We're going to try to assassinate. I have an assassin with a black bow here that can feeble mine, so we'll see if he catches anyone. Maybe like elves can be difficult to assassinate, so I'm not really sure how this kit is going to work out. He's going to get some vine men to hopefully shield him, and then he's got this eye of aiming for extra precision to help with his his shooting, and then this gives him dark vision, because I don't know, a certain number of assassinations just happen at night. And probably he needs to land the first or second shot, otherwise he's dead. But yeah, anyway, this is just the random assassin we got from the event like a million years ago. Like, I have him, screw it, let's use him. Definitely, like, if he ends up trying to assassinate, there's like an elemental, like queen of air. If that's who shows up, like, he's probably dead. But maybe he feeble minds her, which honestly probably a worthwhile trade. So not the craziest plan. This guy's Venom Spew, of course, is going to do Wind of Death. This isn't like a massive stack, but it's quite a bit of stuff. So this is probably about as good of a target as we're going to get for Wind of Death. So yeah, trying to give that a shot. He's decked out with penetration gear. Would have preferred to have like those long dead and the ghosts, or like more units, more chaff, to kind of give him time, because I think we're going to try to Wind of Death twice. Maybe? Nah, just once. Probably don't have enough gems. Yeah, we're just, like, yeah, I believe in spending gems, and I probably spend a little too much. I think it's partially like a new player thing. I'm probably spending gems on things that I shouldn't be. Although in this dire of a situation, like, yeah, spend your gems. But yeah, I'm like really down to it. It'd be nice to try to get off like multiple of these casts. Although I think the fatigue level is probably, actually it's not bad. We could do Wind of Death twice. Anyway, yeah, we don't have the gems, so we're just gonna do it once. But there's a chance, of course, that he moves this army that's on top of Niflheim and attacks our army here. In which case they'll fight that battle before the storming. And I don't have enough gems on these guys to handle 2 battles, which is definitely a mistake. And I do actually have like at least some reloads. Yeah, it looks like, well, not quite full reloads. Need more astral pearls. Yeah, I need a lot more astral pearls. But still, could have handed out more gems, right? Because if he attacks, that'll trigger a battle, trigger gem usage, and then we'll go in and storm. Now, I don't think there's too much in this fort. But I didn't think there was too much in the fort before, and then we got an army crushed on here. So yeah. On the other hand, like, I don't know what else we're gonna do. We could try to jump on top of Niflheim. Yeah, sure. Like, that might have been the better move. There's a lot less enemy dominion, although sadly there is enemy dominion on here. Probably should have built a temple down here. Controlling your dominion is really important, right? For when things like, not Wrathful Skies, Dark Skies, Dark Skies and etc., right? Vengeful Waters, there's a variety of dominion-based globals. So especially in the late game, super important to be controlling your dominion. We haven't done terribly, but we do have a decent amount of territory of ours. Well, some of this is just raiding nonsense. So yeah, it's not like our dominion is awful. But yeah, I think our dominion strength did go down. Yeah, it's only 5. So like, yeah, I think I started with 5 and then I died, the god died, so our dominion strength went down 1, but then it went up 1 because we have 5 temples. So like, it's pretty mediocre dominion strength, so it's been a bit difficult, to control that. But anyway, there's a ton of enemy dominion right on top of this throne. So Dark Skies is going to be a lot stronger here. So yeah, probably if we could have taken a battle in Niflheim, that would have been better overall. But I really wanted this throne. And I think I'm still a little bit in YOLO mode here. So we're going in, and we couldn't really escape. We could escape with our stealthy portions of the army, but we can't even afford it. So I kind of need to lose. I need to use up, these Steel Maidens, right? And we have at least switched it up, right? Like we know that Wailing Winds and etc. like attack rear, right? It's like everybody just go in like waves of lines and like combination like Vine Ogre maidens, right? So that our buffers will, hopefully target, because they love targeting the Vine Ogres. So fine, mix them in, right? And like, yeah, so we're just gonna send everybody, just go. These maidens are scary. Like we have a ton of buffs. We're gonna be throwing on, Fog Warriors, which we don't have enough gems for, I think. So yeah, the gem reload's a bit of a problem. Definitely struggling with the logistics here. But we have enough for mass regeneration, which is going to be more useful in a longer battle. but it's not bad. Weapons of Sharpness is definitely going to be good. Will of the Fates, which we do have enough gems for, that's going to be really important, right? Luck for everyone, because there's going to be Wrathful Skies probably and all that kind of stuff. We're gonna have some skeleton, anyway, we don't need to go through all of it. We're gonna have a lot of stuff. We will see this in action, whether it's this turn or in future turns. I can assure you this army is destined for combat. So we're storming. Otherwise, continuing to try to raid, trying to make it so that it's connected raiding, but not strictly. Here, hoping to just lock down this fort, right? These guys are kind of deep anyway, and there's other people that are raiding connected provinces. So fine, if we can lock down a nearby fort, go for it. Otherwise, trying to, raid stuff where at least we could conceivably connect. Although, of course, yeah, here's another one of our forts that we weren't patrolling that got locked down. But we'll hopefully unlock it, and it'll be connected, and we'll draw some income, both gem and gold, off of it. Because, we need that stuff. And then, research. Yeah, we've talked about that. So close on Enchantment 9. That's nice. Get a second 9. It's not a bad thing. I think that covers turn 91. All right, Ulm, turn 92. We had a bunch of stuff happen, but I'm not going to make you wait. We had a battle on top of the throne. Helheim is coming in, and it looks like pretty much everything that was on top of Niflheim, and maybe some other stuff. And then, of course, we have all of our stuff. Some wyverns, a few guys back here to catch flyers. We talked about most of this. Let's see it happen. Storm, of course, goes up immediately, which really limits the utility of these wyverns. These wyverns just have not been working out. And still, I'm going to give them another shot, which is probably a mistake, but I'm going to do it some game. But yeah, not this game. And when they can't fly, they are so slow. Darkness, Wailing Winds, none of this is a surprise, right? We're going in. We are getting some buffs, although, when the troops go in right away, it does make it a lot harder to buff them up. We'll probably get some buffs on our wyverns, which is sad because their combat speed is so slow. At least they have high magic resistance, so we got anti-magic off. You can see, even with anti-magic, ooh, man, it's just Ulm's troops have such low magic resistance. But 13 is not the worst. And then, some weapons of sharpness. Did we get anything else? No, nothing else yet. So, but we're going right in. Some more buffs. let's see. Yeah, so we got Will of the Fates. Everybody's lucky now. We got, I think this is Army of Gold or maybe Army of Lead. Probably Army of Lead, which I don't think stacks. That also gives magic resistance. So Army of Gold probably would have been better, because then we would have gotten some fire resistance, which could definitely be useful, right? We just saw Helheim use Firestorm. So yeah, I was probably hoping they would stack in terms of magic resistance, because we really need some help there. So yeah, Howl is coming out. Who put up Howl? We put up Howl. Okay, so that's a good news department. Darkness is going to be a huge problem. Like, these Vine Ogres. Attack skill 6. Oh boy. Yeah, defense skill 23 from these Hellherdings. That's never going to work. And then, yeah, attack skill 7. This is super rough. Yeah, didn't really have a plan for Darkness. There are ways to get around it. But yeah, it didn't set any up. And then you can see, like, yeah, morale 7. There goes our like a good chunk of our maidens have already routed. You know, we at least have a lot of Vine Ogres, so like we are getting some hits off, right? Against, you know, these are some Hellherdings that had their glamour popped, maybe from friendly fire. Yeah, we have some Blade Winds coming out. The precision is just gonna be absolutely garbage, you know, because of the storm. Like, yeah, you can see we probably got a few hits in there. Yeah, some Divine Blessing. There's some Banishment going on. We probably have some we have some Undead mixed in here somewhere. I think we have some Wraith Lords. A Wraith Lord? Man, everybody is just running. Maybe it's this Spectre who's routed and asleep. Yeah. You know, this is, well, you can't see it, but if there, you know, there's dark skies aside from the darkness. I don't know why dark skies would be scary if it's, you know, already completely dark, but, you know, there you have it. And of course we got the Wailing Winds. So the Vine Ogres will hang out as long as we have magic leadership. So that is one advantage. You know, obviously the fact that they're hot garbage is a significant downside since we have no other troops. The Wyverns did hang out a little longer, just, you know, RNG at play. It's not that they had better morale, and like a lot of our casters are retreating. So I guess the good news is, other than the Vine Ogres, our casualties, at least during the battle, won't be like too horrendous. But we'll have to take a look. Obviously, like, retreat routes are going to matter a ton here. There's some Disintegrate. This is Cloud of Death here, I think, which is probably coming from Helheim. Yeah, because they're going to have some high-level Death casters, and that's pretty nasty. We didn't really have a lot of advance and cast spells here, which is not great. And not really sure, like, what was this Wraith Lord doing? Oh, he's just doing Horde of Skeletons. Bummer. That feels like probably a mistake. Just misscripted them, because, like, why give them all this gear and then tell them to make skeletons? Whoops. So yeah, definitely a mistake there. I really feel like this is a place with, if we had our Wraith Lords mixed in with good kitting and they were pretty killy, we actually could have done work, right? Because the Wraith Lords aren't going to run away right away, and we have all the Vine Ogres to keep everybody distracted, right? So the Vine Ogres just hang out. They're, you know, big sacks of hit points. The Mass Regeneration helps them a lot. You can see, like, they're pretty tough to kill with all these hit points and the Mass Regeneration. And, of course, you know, we have Army of Lead or whatever, right? We have a ton of natural protection on these guys. So they're hanging out along. They just can't kill anything, right? So we need a killing component, which was supposed to be the Maidens. But, you know, we've talked at length about, I mean, yeah, we saw. they're not a thing anymore. Not under these conditions, anyway. So I think the Wraith Lords probably would have been a much better, like, killing component to this army. So, like, all things considered, this isn't going, like, too horribly, I say, as, you know, half of our army runs away and the other half is butchered. But, like, it could have worked, right? A little bit of adjustment, and I actually think this would have been a much more expensive battle for Helheim, maybe even something that we won. And, you know, there's the thought, victory. But victory is not what we have achieved here. Instead, we've just demonstrated that Vine Ogres can hold out for quite a long time in some pretty nasty conditions, but then that's about it. And that Hellherdings are good, and then, of course, here goes our Communion Slaves. Ooh, morale 1, wow. Because, you know, they're just asleep from all the casts. Actually, looks like they should be awake. Oh, you know what? They're the communion leader must be asleep, and then these guys are trapped in the communion as long as the communion leader's here. Anyway, yeah, they don't make it. So that was here. So we do kill 17 Hellherdings, which is not the worst result that has ever happened. It's not a good result either. He still has quite a few, but still 17 Hellherdings, that hurts a little bit. This hurts a lot more. This, again, our casualties aren't that bad. Wraithlord's going to come back. We lose some kitting. This does really hurt. We don't have a ton of these crystal sorceresses. They're the source of our like Fog Warriors communion and stuff like that. So to lose 6 of them really hurts. And, gold-wise, not trivial. I mean, they're irreplaceable at this. Everything that's costs gold at this point for me is, irreplaceable. So we only lose 5 Steel Maidens, which is actually kind of bad. We kind of needed some of them to trade so that our upkeep would go down. But you can see they just ran away right away. And then we lose all of our Vine Ogres, which does hurt. This is a lot of gems and mage turns. But they do actually, surprisingly, get some kills. Not sure, maybe they killed the Hellherdings. Not sure who killed the Hellherdings, really. And then, of course, the retreat. So a lot of successful retreats. It looks like almost completely successful. Not sure where the maidens went, right? Because this is 36 units under their command, and that looks like the main components. We'll have to take a look at that, but yeah. So a pretty nasty loss, right? This is really like our last major army. We do have other forces, so we can rebuild. But yeah, this is bad. But again, a little bit of tweaking, and I think this could go better. Let's talk about the rest of the turn. So we finish enchantment 9. That's nice. More wyverns because they're super effective. Yetis, mechanical men at least will do much better, right? No issues with morale there. I think we're gonna have to lean a lot more on these mechanical men. Another Wraithlord, talked about, they could be useful. And we actually have some interesting battles this time, some interesting raiding battles this time. This seems to be pretty standard, right? This is a Soulslay Golem, and he's being supported by that Arouse Hunger spell, right? So to provide some chaff. Yeah, I like that. It's definitely a cool idea. And then, hey, look, here is one of our Wraithlords who does not have an Amulet of Anti-Magic yet. We are producing those, but we still have Wraithlords out in the field, rolling around. And this is bad news because, there's going to be some Soulslay coming down. And yeah, first one just nails him. Let's take a look. How much MR did he have? I think it was like 17 or something like that. 17 magic resistance. Not enough, right? Now, again, there's a decent amount of penetration gear on this guy, right? He's got a Rune Smasher. This is an expensive item. In fact, pretty much full penetration. So 17 magic resistance against just some Joe Schmo guy that has no penetration, you might last significantly longer. And, of course, there's always the RNG. But against full penetration, forget it. It was the first one and he nailed him. And then, this was also interesting. So speaking of being jumped on, right, here are some unkitted Van Jarls who probably Cloud Trapezed in. And here is our overkitted Spectre. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, these guys don't have any kit. Our Spectre is definitely dangerous. Aim. Okay, that's dangerous because our Spectre is susceptible to shock, right? Because he's been iron skinning himself. And he can stealth out, but I got greedy. And so I just chose to attack again immediately. And now he's getting hopped on. These guys put charged body on themselves. Okay, that's interesting. So he has enough shock resistance on the Bless, and then he also cast protection from lightning. So he's just going to let me come up and hit him, and then if I do hit him, I'll probably kill myself on, getting zapped from that lightning. Yeah, there you go. So we're almost dead. Well, we have some health left, but we took a chest wound and we're stunned. This is bad news. And then, of course, here come the lightning bolts, and that's all she wrote. So, goodbye, overkitted Spectre. You had a good run. And then we have an assassination attempt against an Ivy King. Not actually sure how tough these guys are to assassinate, but it's not going to be easy. Looks like he did have some bodyguards with him. I don't think he summons Vineman in battle. Helheim doing a good job of keeping, bodyguards on important casters. And this guy's got, nature mages are actually a bit difficult to assassinate because they often cast Swarm. and just a cloud of bugs can be really difficult for assassins to deal with. And this guy's, got full kitting. He can do charm. And this guy's super dangerous. So this is scary. Although his protection, while good, is not fantastic. So if we can get him, right, and his main thing is that he's a good caster. So if we can, oh boy, Creeping Doom. Yeah, that's the better version of Swarm. Anyway, if we can Feeble Mind him, I was going to say before he casts any spells, but of course that didn't work out. And I think we've missed twice. Oh no, he did. He hit once, but wow, that's a terrible damage roll. Yeah, that's part of the problem. Our strength is not good enough. We can add even more kitting this to try to boost his strength. The black bow has to deal damage in order to get the Feeble Mind. So having it on just a human chassis is a bit problematic because 15 damage, it just isn't that much. So that is kind of the downside. And of course now all the bugs come in. And this guy is just going ham with the bugs, and forget about it. So this is kind of, you got to nail that shot, and he did hit him at least, although not until after the bugs had already come out. So anyway, that did not work out. We lose that assassin, but gave it a shot. Like I said, a fully kitted Ivy King with gems and a bodyguard, that's a pretty tough target to assassinate. And then this is our throne province, so we are trying to break out and knock off whoever stays behind. And it looks like just an unkitted Van Jarl stayed behind, who has a chest wound. This is probably a Van Jarl he doesn't really care about so much. We brought a lot of stuff out because, I didn't want to run into the same situation where it's okay, it was a Van Jarl. This turn, it's now a real army. So, we're kind of going through it. We brought a lot of stuff out. And, this is way overkill for a single Van Jarl. So, there you go. When the wyverns can actually fly, and jump in, they do okay. So, maybe on the wyverns. And then we just threw, a few of our remaining birds at a province, kind of hoping it would be undefended. I think Helheim is starting to have some money problems, so there are a few undefended provinces that Helheim has, but he managed to put some PD in here, and birds, we've talked about them. And then he made another attempt at Old Man Mountains. So let's see here, and this is just again an unkitted Van Jarl, and we're patrolling with basically the same stuff, and so it's probably gonna be Frozen Heart that gets him. Let's run through real quick. Yep, Frozen Heart looks like. So so we're still patrolling, he's still poking, and then back to the raids against PD. So here's a Van Jarl doing his thing against PD. Here's our Ivy King doing his thing against PD. Here, Van Jarl on Van Jarl action with a few great boars thrown in. Let's take a quick look. I think Vanheim is using much more kitted Van Jarls. Yeah, so this is pretty heavy kitting, and I'm guessing that Helheim probably has little to no kit. Yeah, he's just a crippled guy leading around just a bunch of boars. So yeah, kitted Van Jarls have no trouble with a bunch of great boars. And then, we're super broke, and we lose a province there for free. And then we bring out our wolves, right? So we were just using these to patrol our forts, but now it's all hands on deck. So minimal PD, wolves. 46 wolves can do work against that. You can see it's not attrition free, so this won't go on forever, but still it's worth getting a province back. And then this next one, so we sent out a shaman, and he single-handedly takes this province. So we'll take a quick look at this. This is a swarm rating, pretty standard. He's just all you need is a nature 1, 2, maybe even just 1 nature gem, right? Kind of depends on how much PD you run up against. This is just 1 PD, although, we've talked at length about this stupid Vanhurst that they always get. But anyway, even for a Vanhurst, right, a ton of bugs. I don't think... Oh, he does have poison resist on the boss. Wow, actually, I'm a little bit surprised that this managed to work out. Do we have this guy on advance and cast? Oh, yeah, he's super asleep. That is the thing. If you do 2 casts of Swarm with a Nature 1, this guy's not going to wake up for a long, long time. And now he's doing Phantasmal Warrior spam, the Vanhurst, that is. Wow, this is actually close. See, this is the thing, right? Because it's easy, especially in the late game, you roll through a bunch of these battle reports, right? And you're like, oh yeah, Swarm Raid worked fine. You don't check it, and then sometimes you watch it though, and you're like, whoa, wait, how did we win this? So you do have to be careful about getting complacent sometimes, because you just look at the report and it just confirms your expectations, but it turns out actually there was a possibly fatal flaw. It looks like we just fatigued him out, or he fatigued himself out with his casting, right? So he's asleep right now. And, when you're asleep, it's a lot easier to land hits. His defense isn't going to matter as much because otherwise, I just don't really see how these bugs. Still don't really see how we win this. I wonder if this is going to be a replay bug or maybe we did actually wake back up and now we're making a couple skill. Oh, he just morale failure. So yeah, we got lucky. Anyway, yeah, swarm raiding is generally pretty effective, but again, stupid Vanhurst. And then we had our breakout attempt in Niflheim. Right, so this is our empowered Wraith who's coming out, Wraith Lord, who's coming out with his Wind of Death, and then there's a couple other random guys for chaff, and then this is what Helheim left behind. There's Wind of Death. You can see affected all these. It's kind of interesting that Long Dead get affected. Do they decay? Do they have a max? Yeah, I guess they do have a max age. That's interesting. Undead, the chaffy undead, have really terrible magic resistance. So you can see. Right, this Van Jarl resisted. It actually looks like, this guy did not. This Dis did not. And so, magic resistance 20, things happen. We did also get a few eagles, it looks like. So, not too much hung out. And then, of course, here's just our random garbage. And, we're just making some more random garbage. I think we are set to retreat eventually, maybe. Ooh, is that another Wind of Death? It was. Nice. Okay, maybe we did manage to throw another gem on him. Of course, Great Eagles come in now. We do have our freezing aura. And then, we have a semi-kitted Wraith Lord. Although, he's decaying now as well. Although, his max age is really high. Even with now he has an amulet of anti-magic. But still, right, he failed his magic resistance check. And, that's the thing about Wind of Death, right? It doesn't... There's plenty of friendly fire. It doesn't care which side you're on. And he does have Soul Vortex up though, but those eagles, he doesn't have ring regeneration, so any regeneration he's getting is purely from the Soul Vortex, but it is keeping him alive, definitely. Ooh, that sounded like I think it was a Wither Bones, probably from one of his Death Casters, which is super nasty. Or Dust to Dust, also a really good anti-undead spell. But you can see, right, the decay, quite a few units do go down. We lose a lot of gear. The Wraith Lords will get back. The Smiths were going to die anyway, because we were probably not going to hold that fort since we lost that other battle. So, we kill 8 Great Eagles and a bunch of stuff he doesn't... so not a great trade for how much gear we traded for. Would have much rather hit that other... the other army that moved off, right? That had a lot more high-value targets. That said... he had pretty good magic resistance on most of that, so I don't know how many we would have gotten, right? The fact that we were 5 Van Jarls here, we didn't get any of the important casters, so not really sure how much better it would have been if we'd actually hit the army that we wanted to. But anyway, that was a shot at a Wind of Death trap. And then the raiding war continues. Let's see here. Forbidden Forest. So Axe Warriors, minimal PD. Axe Warriors, minimal PD. Axe Warriors, doing their thing. This is probably some more swarm stuff, retaking one of our provinces against minimal PD. Just random squads, some Axe Warriors. Sure, a couple Terracotta Soldiers, a few casters, taking back some of our stuff. We looked at this battle. We know all about this. And then our Golems still, moving on back. Minimal PD, no trouble there. The Suns march on. Some PD there, but they got plenty of kit. Shaman, maybe some swarm, maybe not. A few Terracotta Soldiers, minimal PD, no problem. At this point, it's kind of whatever you can throw together. Everybody's kind of hurting from the Armageddon, so almost anything will take a province at this point in the game as long as you don't bump into something else. And then speaking of which, right, this is Helheim is probably having some money problems as well. He didn't leave any PD here. And then here's some Van Jarls knocking out we actually had some PD there. And then, we are out of money. We're out of money. Our Ivy King actually turns around, a Van Jarl, though he doesn't manage to get the kill, sadly. And then the next one is kind of interesting. Let's see if I can find it. Here we go. So, this is not one of our forts, I don't think. Maybe one of our forts. I think it's one of our forts. So we're patrolling. We have one of our enchantresses, who have not really worked out for us this game, I will say. I'm gonna do a retrospective where I kind of talk through a lot of that. So these guys, they're death casters, so that's important. Advance and cast spells for Dust to Dust, that kind of stuff. And then we're actually making sprites. So that's one of the cool things about Nature Air, is that you can summon in sprites, which we've talked about before. Send in the birds. The birds are not going to do anything. This guy is actually pretty kitted, way more kitted than normal for Helheim, right? This is like a 15 gem item, Shadowbrand, real serious. Doesn't do so well against Undead Shaft, but like otherwise probably kind of like unmatched clearing. Not sure actually, but big area of effect, right? Not one square. Now it is magic resistance negates. But yeah, and it's not undead, it's inanimate specifically, although a lot of undead are inanimate. But birds are going to get absolutely wrecked, and he's got a vine shield, and all that kind of good stuff. But the birds probably interrupted him and maybe even got some damage. Oh, he's hitting himself. Interesting. Oh, wow. Okay, so you have to be careful about friendly fire with that. This is the Shadowbrand, the Leeching Darkness, that sword that he's using. So yeah, I mean, he managed to bless himself, and that was it, right? I don't think he's managed to do any other casting. And then it's like, hey, how about birds? So, the birds are doing their job, right? And we have our casters moving forward, and we're bringing in like a lot of sprites. So we'll see here. We could have an issue with like killing power, right? Because like, yeah, this guy's not undead, so this guy's just temper flesh, but once the sprites move up and start to nail him, you can see like this guy's completely asleep. And if you have enough sprites, right, you can actually kill like a small amount of units because he's at 200 fatigue, and so he keeps taking a ton of fatigue damage, which is going to get translated into HP damage, right? We can take a look and just verify that he's resisting a lot of it. Let's see, failed to resist. Yep, there you go. 2 points of damage from excessive fatigue, right? So it's not a ton of damage. It takes a second. And, if you had regeneration on him, I'm not sure we'd be able to kill him this way. But, he does, I guess with enough sprites you could. But he doesn't have regeneration. And so, yeah, sprites, like, they can be pretty effective, especially against Elven Raiders. And, you have some other killing component. You put them to sleep and their defense doesn't matter anymore. And then I know I said Yomi was done, but that's not quite true. So we have another attack on a fort. This is a pretty serious army from Helheim here. And, Yomi has another pile of stuff. And there's a Dione in here. So this, could do something. Not a lot of casters, though. In fact, I think the Dione might be the only caster. So, yeah, And then, here comes the demon cleansing, and God only knows what else. Actually, we know exactly what else. Not darkness, because it's fighting Yomi. There you go. Some fog warriors, wailing winds, a bunch of banishment on those corpse constructs. Like, yeah, we've seen this before. Ooh, mass flight, I think. Yeah, that mass flight is really nice when you're, taking a fort. So yeah, that's just absolute slaughter. Oh, those poor demons. you don't say that too often. But that's probably it. I think that's the last major force, and it does take a few losses here. Like Van Jarl hurts a little bit, but yeah. That's rough. And then speaking of rough, we lose Niflheim for free. Not too much left. I think we actually did route some stuff with our Wind of Death nonsense. Or maybe not everything was set to go in. But yeah, it's a totally empty fort now. So he takes that no problem. Not our greatest defense of a capital, but, it happens. And then that's great. People are having festivals. I don't know why. And then, yeah, maybe some barbarians are going to attack us because, of course, they are. But none of that really matters. And then, so we're not breaking down any walls. We can't afford our troops. And then we have people dying from diseases now. And I think this is largely due to Armageddon, right? Because a disease is just an affliction that you can get from taking damage. And, we've had all of our units taking damage quite a few times. And then Atlantis is permanently vanquished. I think they were already AI. And then, we got some Wraith Lords back, so that is nice. The advantages of Immortals. And, what are we up to? So our upkeep is lower now. That's good. And I'd say overall, our territory is looking a little better. We did knock out a few raiders, right? There's a Helheim flag here, and there's a Helheim flag here, and we're moving into recapture. And, we're leaving some of our squads. I think we're sending this guy back, because he's out of gems. So we're going to reload him and then probably send him out again. And these guys are out of gems. And we got some gear, so that's nice. So, we'll send him back, throw some gems on him, send him back out. But otherwise, probably most of the groups actually are heading back. Probably should be trying to throw a few more groups out there, but we were actually pretty successful this turn. So anyway, we're going to reload, send guys back out. So the raiding side of things are going decently well. We've unlocked our throne fort here, which is good. And then, yeah, we have this locked down and with some Yetis on it to try to help break it. But I don't think we're doing, let's actually double check. That matters a little bit. I think it's turtle. Yeah, so let's see. So this is not a ton of siege strength, right? 183, but that message that we're seeing, so the defenders are repairing it faster than we can tear it down. That's bad news. So possibly there's like a huge stack in here, or maybe he's casting iron walls on it. I'm not really sure actually what the deal is there. But yeah, so we're moving. Let's see, where are we moving to? Let's see. Okay, so our Wraith Lord is going to go help raid, and then, yeah, this guy's just taking these Yetis home because clearly we just don't have enough stuff, to actually break this down, especially with, like, how strong this wall is. I was thinking, like, okay, we just made it magically. Maybe it's kind of empty and we can break it down. And also, if we had won down here, then we would have more time to sit and break this down. But that's the other big thing, right? Obviously, we did not win. Going back in, yeah, this is like, I mean, oof. Oh, you know what? Hold on. No, we aren't. Okay. So we're pulling most of it out. But of course, like, right, that's the trouble. Now, that said, we could actually move our wyverns up here, at least some of these guys. But there were at least some of our casters. Yeah, only a few of them, right? So we have these Amazons. They're not stealthy. And then, yeah, it's pretty much just the Amazons. All Amazons that are... And this guy's not stealthy. And then in terms of, like, non-stealthy units, yeah, there's, like, one Wyvern. So, yeah, not really actually sure, like, why I'm moving back on. Maybe just, glutton for punishment. Not really sending any magic support in with them. So maybe just thinking that, like, Helheim is not really going to be expecting this, and we can at least lock it down and then kind of work our way back. I mean, Wyverns will do fine. Like I said, anything can capture provinces, more or less, at this point. So maybe planning on sending our Wyverns home, like, the long way, so to speak. But yeah, kind of an odd move, I would say, because the rest of everything that's left... like our chiefs and our casters, and maybe where are our warrior maidens going? They're probably just not quite as fast, I think. Nope. Oh, are we sending them in? We're sending them in, so we're going to raid with our maidens. Yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, we can't afford them, so it is kind of like, well, we might as well, but using them in... Helheim's Dominion, I feel like I still hadn't really internalized that, like, they're going to do a lot better in our own Dominion. Like, yeah, they're still going to be affected by Wailing Winds, but they won't also be under Dark Skies. So, like, I'm not actually sure that our maidens, I don't know, our Axe Warriors have been taking provinces. So, yeah, I guess. And we can't afford them, so we might as well use them. And I think that's pretty much, no, we have 2 groups of them. So where's the other group headed? That's Axe Warriors. Okay, yeah, so planning on just breaking up, it looks like, all the human components of the army and raiding with them, which, like, sure, maybe. I mean, we can see, like, the Axe Warriors have been raiding pretty effectively. Like, the Steel Maidens are going to raid more or less the same way. And as they get ground down, through various casualties, like, that's okay, because we can't really afford them anyway, right? The other option is to sneak them home, but they're going to keep deserting. So, yeah, I can kind of understand. I mean, that said, like, we kind of have an army now. We've built up a good amount of mechanical men, and, we have some other, like, random stuff. But we don't have, like, all that much. We do have some down here in Kailasa. But yeah, so we're not moving out with it yet. Like, this is starting to look a little scary, right? Because obviously we know there's at least some stuff here on Niflheim and a decent amount of stuff here, that beat us. Here's our gem reloads showing up late. So yeah, not quite there with the logistics, almost. But yeah, so choosing to raid with the human stuff. Because we can't afford it. But the other option would be to pull it back and, actually have more of an army, because obviously, like, Helheim is going to be setting up, they are looking to try to get thrones. They've been focusing on, grabbing thrones from Yomi, and then, they're starting to get close to a throne, within somewhat striking distance of a throne victory. So we can definitely expect an attack happening, on our throne. Obviously, we've been raided on our throne like a couple of times, so Helheim is definitely very much interested in that. But at the same time, trying to keep the pressure up would be good. Looks like we're sending both of our Ivy Kings in on top of Arcocephali, so expecting possibly to run into patrollers here. And while there's no hugely valuable provinces anymore after the double Armageddon, this is going to be a more valuable province, and we'll be able to draw some income off of it, most likely. So yeah, continuing to try to keep up the raiding pressure, kind of breaking up this army, probably just throwing away the Wyverns. They have not been doing very well for us. I don't think we have any realistic chance of capturing this throne now, and maybe should have been pulling some more stuff back for defense, but it will take him probably at least 1 or 2 turns to gather himself up. We have inflicted some damage, not a lot, but some damage. And we're continuing to bring in mechanical men and summon in ghosts, and we have Wraith Lords running around. We're trying to gear up at least some of our Wraith Lords, trying to get amulets at anti-magic on everybody. Obviously, gem situation still pretty low, but so we're gonna have some stuff, definitely. I think that more or less covers it. I don't think research has not really changed. Evocation 8, we want that Pillar of Fire. Not that we have a ton of people. Alm's magic access is so random. We must have some Fire 2s out there somewhere. And, Fire 1 with a gem, they can cast it. So we'll figure it out because, we have a lot of Fire gems to be handing out. But anyway, I think, let's see. In terms of scouting, I guess we haven't really talked about that in a bit. Most of our scouting is pretty focused. Baratos is still alive, but I think only just barely, and we've pulled most of our scouts out to try to keep an eye on Helheim, and try to keep an eye on, try to have a scout next to all the possible thrones, right? We're trying to get eyes on how well defended is this throne, so that we can get an idea of how close they are to actually winning a throne victory. Maybe in next episode we'll actually count up and see exactly where they are, and see if we actually have full vision, because something that people can do is not claim a throne, right? So you can always go and take a look at the statistics, right, and look at the thrones of ascension and see who's got what. Actually, so we have full claims. There's no unclaimed. But sometimes people will sit on a throne, not claim it, so that it's a little harder to see how close they are, to victory. But maybe next time, we'll take a look, because they are starting to close. Helheim is starting to close in on a throne victory, and we didn't really help prevent that. So rough turn. But let's turn 92.